Hello, everyone, and welcome to Yankee Diff here on Ascendas TV, where I go over news, game and series recaps, and everything related to baseball, with the primary focus on, as you may have guessed, the New York Yankees. It is Season 1, Episode 1, the first season and episode here on this channel, and today I'm going to go over the season opening series that the Yankees had against the San Francisco Giants. It was a relatively clean 3-0 sweep, relatively easy sweep. But let's go over each game. So, opening night for literally only the Yankees and the Giants, because why not? And it had to be on Netflix and not on Yes or even on Fox. It was just on Netflix because now everything needs to be on Netflix, but that's neither here nor there. Game 1. Max Fried once again gets the starting nod against Logan Webb. And going into the game, if you watched on my stream, I low-key glazed Logan Webb, calling him one of the best starting pitchers in the National League. And it was still for a good reason. And if you don't believe me, or if you don't see why, let me just run some stats for you about Logan Webb. His breakout year was 2021, where he made 27 appearances, 26 starts, and pitched to a 3.03 ERA over 148 and a third innings. Since 2022, he has made 32 or more starts, including leading Major League Baseball in starts in 24 and 25. He won 15 games twice in 22 and 25, had an ERA below 3.5 every year, including a 2.9 mark in 22, and in Cy Young voting since 22, he has placed 11th, 2nd, 6th, and 4th. Interesting note, the time he finished second was when he had an 11-13 record. And he led the National League in strikeouts last year with 224. He did, however, also lead MLB in hits allowed with 210 over 207 innings. And I say that last bit because it'll play a part into what I'm getting into in a bit. But for the Yankees, they had Max Fried, who every analyst, every broadcast, everyone leading up to the game, they were all highlighting that, oh, well, Max Fried has never got a winning decision on opening day. Ever. Whether it was with the Yankees last year or when he was with the Braves. So on paper, going into this matchup, you think, oh my God, Logan Webb's going to just outclass Max Fried. The Yanks will be lucky to score against Logan Webb. They just have to try and get him out of the way quickly and then get to work on their bullpen. And admittedly, after that first inning, I would say that assessment was accurate. Logan Webb had a very easy 1-2-3 first inning, while Max Fried labored and struggled. But then, in the second inning, let me just run through the line. Top of the second inning, Ben Rice grounds out. Giancarlo Stanton singles. Jazz Chisholm hit by a pitch right around the ribs. Jose Caballero, RBI single. Ryan McMahon, 2-run single. Austin Wells single. Trent Grisham, 2-run triple, while also getting hit by the relay throw and sliding into Matt Chapman in third. It shook him up a bit, but he still finished the game. Before finally Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger strike out. It was a 5-run second inning from basically out of nowhere. And then in the fifth, Cody Bellinger singles. Ben Rice singles. Stanton hits an RBI single. Jazz Chisholm hits a ground ball to second. Arias Fields fires to short for the force. Ben Rice scores after Willie Adames short hops the first baseman Casey Schmidt, goes down as an E6, and it's an unearned run. It is now 7-0. Logan Webb's final line after the inning ends, 5 innings, 7 runs, 6 of which are earned, 9 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Max Fried, after his difficult first inning, went on to finish with 6 1/3 innings pitched, no runs, 2 hits. 2 hits. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. First man that comes out of the Yankees bullpen in the 7th inning is Jake Bird. Jake Bird, for those who don't know or remember, Made one appearance after he was acquired at last year's trade deadline. He was part of the flurry of moves that the Yankees made to bolster their bullpen, along with Camilo Doval and David Bednar. And if you remember that game against Miami, it was an absolute massacre. Every single one of those relievers gave up 3 or more runs against the Marlins. But it was Bird who actually got the axe, was demoted to AAA, and never made another appearance at the major league level for the rest of the season. So immediately, you're thinking, oh my God, like, what's he going to do now? Especially when the Yankees have a pretty sizable lead. And he looked great. He looked fantastic. Brent Hedrick, who I was joking with everyone that the Yankees basically forgot that they had for most of the year last year. He only appeared in 17 games despite being on the roster for most of the year. Put up a 0 in the 8th. And then Camilo Doval, despite looking a little shaky, closed out the game in the 9th. The Yankees win 7-0. Max Fried gets his first official win on opening day. Logan Webb takes the loss and now sits with an ERA of 10.8 as of this recording. And, you know for a fact Logan Webb will do better over the course of the season. He's not going to sit at an ERA over 10 for the rest of the year. But that was probably the biggest shock to me, was how the Yankees got to him that quickly while also not being helped on defense. And one last thing about Game 1 before I move on that everyone seemed to be making a big deal about. And admittedly, it was, for pretty good reason. Aaron Judge on opening night went 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, got the golden sombrero, before grounding out to end his night to prevent the platinum sombrero of 5 strikeouts. And immediately, everyone was on Twitter and probably on Reddit. I wouldn't know. I'm never on Reddit. Already calling him washed, saying he's going to hold the team down, this, that, and the other. Meanwhile, it's Game 1 out of 162. But that's just social media. That's just how fans are known to react. To the rest of us who live in reality already know that he will do just fine. But that's enough from Game 1. Game 2 on Friday. New Yankees cult hero Cam Schlittler took on former Cy Young winner Robbie Ray. And through the first 5 innings, fantastic pitcher's duel. People might say, oh, well, low-scoring games are boring. But I'll tell you, I actually really like those kinds of games. The games are generally faster and more interesting when you don't immediately know who's going to blink first. And through 5 innings, they both look good. But I've got to tell you, Cam Schlittler was on a whole other level. 5 1/3 innings on a pitch count. I believe he was held to around 70 to 75 pitches. And I think after 1 out and 1 pitch in the 6th inning, he was taken out when I believe he was at 69 pitches. But 5 1/3 innings, no runs, 1 hit, no walks to go along with 8 strikeouts. He was absolutely incredible. Like, what everyone saw him do against the Red Sox in last year's division series, it looked like the same guy. He was absolutely filthy, had 3 different types of fastballs working, his 4-seamer up in the zone, his absolute demonic 100-mile-an-hour sinkers bearing in on righties looked absolutely filthy. And it did take him a little while to find his cutter, but still, at 94 miles an hour, darting the other way, it still played really well. And then as the game went on is when he slowly started mixing in his curveballs as well, just to keep hitters off balance. He looked really good. And that's not to take away from what Robbie Ray did. He also did pretty well. But he was the one who blinked first. 6th inning, Paul Goldschmidt, who got the start versus the lefty throwing Ray, led off with a double, and then Aaron Judge, who at that point was 0 for 2 with another strikeout. He had 5 strikeouts and 7 at-bats to that point. Launched a fly ball into the left field seats for a 2-run home run to open the scoring and give the Yankees a 2-0 lead. And I promise you, all the doubters from Game 1, all the Game 1 Andys, who were probably super loud going into this at-bat, started to shut up. Like, oh, yeah, there's the MVP. There's the captain. There's the guy that we want. 2 batters later, Giancarlo Stanton comes up against reliever Jose Butto, former Met, and proceeds to clobber another pitch over left field. It's now 3-0. And the Yankees bullpen, yet again, comes up huge. Big performances from Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, Camilo Doval, who looked much better this time around, ended up striking out the side in the 8th before giving way to David Bednar in the 9th, who walked the guy, but still closed it out and got his first save of the year. Yankees win 3-0. And I said it last year. I've said it again this year. I said it on stream. I will continue to say it. The biggest thing that Cam Schlittler needs to do, more than anything in the world, is just staying healthy. If he can stay healthy and give the Yankees 30-plus starts a year, even if he's not throwing 99 miles an hour on every pitch, he can be the Yanks' ace going forward if they don't have someone like Max Fried or Garrett Cole or Carlos Rodon when they come back. He can be an absolute stud. But he has to stay healthy. If he gets hurt, the Yankees are in trouble. And their options start to thin. But that's game 2. Not much else to go into there. So then game 3, which was yesterday, and which was surprisingly close if you watched it. Will Warren against Tyler Mahle, you think sort of a throwaway game. The Giants are just hoping to salvage the last game to avoid the sweep. And Will Warren was very, I can't really say wild, but you can tell he still has some growing to do. And they're the same things that I harped on about him last year. Will Warren is a guy who has the raw stuff on his pitches that can nominate him as a front-end starter. He has the mid to high 90s fastball. He has great movement on his sweeper. But what's holding him back right now is his pitch selection, his tunnels, his lanes, and his control, which get him into a lot of trouble. And it showed yesterday. He got into a lot of high pitch counts. There were a lot of times where he would get ahead of a hitter 0-2, 1-2, and then completely lose the zone, or he would try to get too cute with pitches and throw stuff that just wasn't close or competitive. I was saying it a lot on stream. There were just a lot of times that I was begging him where it would be the perfect time after throwing 2 or 3 straight fastballs to throw a sweeper, especially low and away to righties. But he either just didn't trust it or had no feel for it because he didn't throw it often. And when he did, it looked bad. Which, look, it happens. You're not going to have all of your pitches in every start all the time, especially with a younger guy. But it is something that he needs to work on and fix soon if he wants a future on a starting staff. He's still solid pitcher. And, you know, he was one of the few guys who was actually consistently healthy last year. He gave the Yankees 33 starts last year, and that's awesome. And you hope for the same this year, but you can see that he has some work to do. But I digress. He still did decently, went 4 1/3 before Boone went to the bullpen again. Yankees offense was quiet for the first couple innings, but then broke through in the 3rd. Trent Grisham worked the walk thanks to an ABS challenge overturn on a pitch that missed by almost 3 inches. And on that note, I really have to say again, Chad Winston, the home plate umpire for yesterday's game, had a terrible game behind the plate. There were 7 challenges made on his calls, and every single challenge was successful. He just had a very bad day. But anyway, Grisham walks. Cody Bellinger singled, and, you know, I don't want to, in all this talk about everyone else, I can't miss. Cody Bellinger actually had a fantastic series. He hit over 350 and had a couple of instances where even just taking an extra base, scoring from first to home, he had a very good series. So just want to show some love to him. Ben Rice, who had a fantastic game, was actually my vote for player of the game yesterday. Doubled both of them home to put the Yankees ahead 2-0. And then, oh boy, I'm still sort of salty about this. I was very salty about it yesterday on stream. Giancarlo Stanton comes up, lines a base hit to left. Ben Rice, who maybe just barely reached third when Elliot Ramos fielded the ball and gets ready to throw home, is sent. He's sent around. He's sent home by Luis Rojas, the third base coach. Ramos throws home, and it's not even close. Ben Rice is out by a mile. And I mean, looking at the replay, he tried making a slick slide that actually made it a closer play than it should have been. But oh my God, that was an absolutely horrible send by Rojas to send Rice there. And it killed their momentum. And it looked even worse when in the next half inning, in the bottom of the third, Jung-Woo Lee doubles and then scores on a Matt Chapman RBI single to make it 2-1. So it just looks even worse. But Yankees bullpen, once again, fantastic. Brent Hedrick finishes the fifth. Jake Bird comes out and just absolutely shoves over 1 2/3 innings, gets another 2 strikeouts. Tim Hill went back out for the second day in a row, solid again over an inning and a third. Aaron Judge hits yet another home run to make it 3-1. And here's a funny stat for you. He's hitting 154 and has 8 strikeouts in 13 at-bats. He has just 2 hits. But his 2 hits are home runs, and he has 3 RBIs. So that made me laugh yesterday. Bottom of the ninth, David Bednar comes out, and it was kind of scary. Immediately walks Elliot Ramos thanks to another successful ABS challenge. Gives up a base hit to Willy Adames. The Giants have runners on first and second with nobody out. But to his credit, he settles down, strikes out Harrison Bader, who offensively probably had one of his worst series that I think I remember, and then induced a 4-6-3 double play to end the game. And I went back and counted. It was the Giants grounded into 4 double plays yesterday. 4. And 3 out of those 4 were 4-6-3. And the game ends. The Yankees won 3-1 in just tragic fashion if you're a Giants fan. And I said it yesterday. I really do hope that it's not a trend that the Giants continue offensively, because their pitching generally looked pretty good. Their starters looked decent. Their bullpen generally looked good. But their bats were just nowhere to be found. And when they started to show even little signs of life, they just killed it. It was so sad to see. And so I do genuinely hope that their season turns for the better. I know Logan Webb will have a better season. I know their staff will recover. But I really do hope that the Giants offense turns a corner and starts to improve. But with that said, the Yankees come away with a sweep. They win 3-0. They have today off and then start a 3-game series tomorrow in Seattle against the Mariners. It'll be new Yankees acquisition Ryan Weathers against former ace Luis Castillo. And what does that tell you about the Mariners starting staff? That Luis Castillo is the number 4 man in a rotation headlined by Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, and for the life of me, who was their third guy? George Kirby. That Luis Castillo is your number 4 man. That is a very impressive rotation. They have generally a very impressive team. Albeit, I think they are better than their 1-2 record says. So I'm looking forward to it. The game's scheduled to start at 9:40 Eastern, 6:40 Pacific, so that will be a very late night for me. I will be live to cast the game at around 9:30. You can catch the stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/AscendusTV. I will have the link in the description below. Once the series ends, I will have another episode of Yankee Diff scheduled after the series ends, so you can expect that to be uploaded onto YouTube by Thursday. But until then, thank you very much for watching or listening, and I will see you all on Twitch tomorrow. Bye.